We'll get started in a minute. Sorry to keep you all waiting. We had business. Mr. Ware, you let us know when you're ready. You ready? All right. Never goes wrong for me. Pursuant to Section 5, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, this is to state for the record that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public by posting and maintaining the annual notice of regular meetings on the bulletin board of the municipal building, by mailing the annual notice of regular meetings for 2024 to the News Record and Star Ledger in December of 2023, and by filing said notice in the office of the Township Clerk.
Ms. Kripe,
Here.
Mr. Daffis,
Present.
Mr. DeLuca,
Here.
Sangle,
Here.
Mayor Adams.
Here. Please
That-
rise. Oh, sorry, go ahead. I forgot.
Whereas Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, commonly known as the Open Public Meetings Act, requires that all meetings on public bodies be open to the public. And whereas Section 7A provides that the governing body has the discretion to permit, prohibit, or regulate the active participation of the public at any meeting. And whereas it is a desire of the governing body to comply with the provisions of this act and at the same time to conduct its business in an orderly and expeditious manner. Now therefore be resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Maplewood that it does hereby prohibit, except as set forth in the formal agenda, active participation in the operations of the governing body by the public, and except as otherwise prescribed by law, does limit the public to observation on the actions and discussions of the governing body at all of its regular and special meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Kripe,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis,
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca,
Yes.
Ms. Angle.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. Please rise for a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Why did they move the
I
flag?
don't know. They repainted,
Oh, I see.
so we didn't have to look at. Yeah, they got to let us know these things.
We all stood up and was like.
Good evening, everyone. Again, apologies for our tardiness from our closed session. And welcome to the November 18th meeting of the Maplewood Township Committee. We're going to have one proclamation today, as you're aware, I'm sure, for Transgender Day of Remembrance and Awareness Week for 2024. Then we have one appointment to the Historic Preservation Commission. Then we will have public comment for agenda items only. Then we have 5 ordinances on for final passage. Then we have 1 ordinance on for introduction. And then we will move into reports from departments, administrative, township attorney, and our deputy township clerk this evening. Then we will have reports from elected officials, Committee Member DeLuca, Deputy Mayor Kripe, Committee Member Daffis, Committee Member Engel, and then I go last. Discussion items. We have 2 for this evening. One on the stormwater utility draft ordinance. Mr. DeLuca will lead that discussion, as well as the second discussion item, Springfield Avenue Partnership as liaison to that board, public art project for utility boxes. Then we will have consent agenda, another public comment session for any item, and then we will adjourn. So with that, I will turn it over to Mr. Daffis for
Thank-
a very special proclamations.
A very special proclamation indeed, Mayor, and thank you very much. And we have such a great crowd tonight to share this with, and hopefully we have some folks online, I believe, Mr. Wary. Uh, So in light of Transgender Awareness Month and Week this week, and Transgender Day of Remembrance on Wednesday, November 20th of this week, we have a special proclamation tonight we want to read into the record. This is an annual tradition, but really, really critical this year in light of recent events with the election results. There's no question, there's no question, there's no question. However you voted, the incoming administration made it very clear that they will target our LGBTQIA community, especially our trans neighbors and friends, specifically targeting our trans youth. They've made that very clear. And since the election results, we're already hearing about this being realized. And from our own family, our own friends, our progressive friends, and some others, we're hearing that maybe things turned out the way they did because we have taken such a visible, unequivocal stance in support of the LGBTQIA community, especially of our trans neighbors and friends. And we are here tonight to say that that is not true. We are here tonight to stand in solidarity with. We are here tonight to create a safe space that is inclusive of all, especially of our trans friends and neighbors and our youth who are watching us, who are depending on us, who need us to see them and support them unequivocally. And that's what we will do. We will not compromise our values. Yes, we will speak to our voters. We will understand them. We will make policies with their input, but we will not compromise our progressive values. We will not let our trans neighbors and friends be targeted, left behind, be attacked, or erased. So, with that, Mayor, if I may, I'm going to go down to this podium here, and I'm going to invite some special guests tonight who went out of their way to help us read this proclamation. And then, after we do our proclamation reading, we'll take a few photos together if everyone is willing. So thank you. Testing. We've really got to get a better mic for this thing. Maybe this year, with this year's budget, we'll do that. Okay, so I'm going to invite some special guests to join me up here in the following order, please. Imani Hayes. Imani, welcome. Please come on up. We have Zoe and Ash Berkovic from Maplewood. Please come on up. Or just Ash. Come on up, Ash. I know you're not shy. You don't mind standing right next to Imani here? Shannon Cuddle. I think everyone knows Shannon. Come on up, Shannon. JP, do we have JP with us? JP Pedoto? Perhaps JP is online. Can we check, Mr. Wary, if JP is online? All right. We have Joan Howlett. Please join us. Joan, thank you for being with us. Laura Hodge, come on up, Laura, and thank you for making the time and being here in person. Really appreciate it. Okay, and last but not least, we have our great pastor from Presbyterian Church here in Maplewood. Jessica Dixon, welcome. Okay, so you each have a hard copy with your respective sections highlighted, right? Everyone understood the assignment. That's great. So this is how this is going to go. We're going to start in the order that I read out. We'll start with Amani, and then we'll go to Ash, and then Shannon, and then we're going to do. Let's see. We don't have a number 4, so I'll do number 4. Then we'll go to Joan. Joan, you're number 5. Then we'll go to Laura. Laura, you're number 6, right there. And Shannon comes twice, number 7. And then our pastor, number 8, Jessica. Come again? Okay. Fantastic. Great. And we ask that you just introduce yourself to the public here. Tell us your name, what you're comfortable sharing, and your affiliation if you have an organizational affiliation. Okay? Wonderful. Let's go. We'll start it off with Amani Hayes.
Evening, everyone. My name is Imani Hayes. I'm the program manager for Project T, which stands for Trans Empowerment in Action, for NJCRI in Newark, New Jersey. Where it started in 1999 by transgender advocate Gwendolyn Ann Smith to honor the memory of Rita Hester, Transgender Day of Remembrance, is when on November 20th, we lift up the names of those lost due to transphobia, aversion, hate speech, and violence. And
I'm Ash. My pronouns are she, they. I don't have an organization. I'm a child. Whereas according to the Human Rights Campaign, we lost at least 27 known transgender, non-binary, and gender diverse people this year, with 74% being people of color, 48% being Black transgender women, and 63% being killed with a gun. And
I'm Shannon Cuttle. My pronouns are they and them. I had the honor of serving on the South Orange Maplewood Board of Education and was the first elected transgender non-binary elected official in the state of New Jersey. Whereas to add insult to the devastation, many victims of transphobic hate and violence go unaccounted for due to being misgendered and dead named. And those that are known and reported on, nearly half at 37%, are misgendered or dead named when reported or unknown. And whereas for those unaware, dead name someone is to use the name or gender non-conforming person or trans identity that they were given at birth, which they no longer use or identify with. And
Hi, I'm Joan Howlett. I'm a resident of Maplewood, a parent and a grandparent of a transgender young lady and sometimes non-binary older brother that she has. I'm a proud transgender grandmother. Whereas, speaking specifically to our young people here in Maplewood, we are committed now more than ever to ensuring that our community is a welcoming, safe space across our schools and communities for all residents, including our transgender, non-binary, and gender diverse community. Please know that you matter, you are loved, you are not alone, and you belong here. And
hi, everyone. My name is Laura Hogue. I'm the owner of Spectrum Health and Wellness, mental health facility in Montclair, New Jersey. We specialize working with trans and gender diverse folks and their families. My pronouns are she and her. Whereas we call on communities and on our state legislature to call for equality, resistance, and support to strengthen and safeguard the protections that make the Garden State a safe haven for all LGBTQ+ persons, especially BIPOC, transgender, non-binary, and gender diverse communities, and affirm our collective commitment to equality across our communities and schools. And whereas if anyone ever feels the need to ask why we have Pride in June, LGBTQIA plus history in October, and Transgender Awareness Week and Day of Remembrance in November, it is to continue to reinforce the contributions, the joys, and the privilege of those who dared to be their most authentic selves. It is because for many, not being cisgender, not being straight, and not fitting into a box can get you killed. Also, while society has come a long way, as shown by regions of our county, even municipalities here in the state of New Jersey, we still have a long way to go. And
I'm Reverend Jessica Dixon Ebner, the pastor at Prospect Church. Was married until August when we lost him to a brain tumor to a trans man. And my aunt and other family and beloved people are trans people. I am a queer person and I pastor a church with multiple families and members who are themselves trans. And so it's important for us to show up for one another. Whereas that is why we uplift during Trans Day of Remembrance the names of those lost to trans violence, including but not limited to Kasim Omar, Vanity Williams, Dylan Gurley, Camden Ryder, Michelle Henry, and acknowledge the more than 400 globally this year, and many whose disappearances and deaths go unreported. Their spirits are alive and well. Say their names, especially on Wednesday. They were here. They mattered. And all transgender, non-binary, and gender-diverse persons deserve to live to old age and experience all that they desire.
Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Dean Daffis, Maplewood Township Committee member, Maplewood's first LGBTQIA out proud elected, Maplewood's first gay mayor, at the time, only one in the county, and among only a handful of LGBTQIA plus identified elected officials around the state. On behalf of our great mayor, Nancy Adams, mayor of the Township of Maplewood, do hereby proclaim the Transgender Awareness Week is November 13th through the 19th, and Transgender Day of Remembrance is November 20th. In addition, I would like to remind all who are listening that our beloved and beautiful diverse community makes us who we are. And it is coming together, not only in times of strife, but in celebration that makes us stronger. We should honor and seek out experiences beyond our own, as the pursuit of equality cannot be a passive act. It requires an effort to know and understand others so that we may, in turn, realize an ideal world into reality. Thank you all. So before we take some photos here, I'd like to offer my co-organizer this evening, Shannon Cuttle, an opportunity for a few remarks. Shannon? I know you can pull something out.
Thank you, Committeeman Daffis. I just want to first thank you, Committeeman Daffis, and also thank Mayor Nancy Adams and the Maplewood Township Committee for your unwavering support for the trans, non-binary, and LGBTQIA plus community. When I first moved to Maplewood over 10 years ago, beginning to organize the first transgender Day of Remembrance, Day of Visibility, and all the many wonderful events that we do in our town. Right here in our Township Committee room in Maplewood. And starting from those early days and all the previous mayors of support, including former Mayor Victor Luca, still committeeman, we were able to still have these celebrations to be a beacon of hope for other communities, for our other community members, for our students, for our youth, our family members, and be able to be not just that beacon of hope, but truly try to create foundation and waves to create change. And I just want to acknowledge that because it's part of all of you. The camera can't capture the fact that we have a very great crowd here tonight in support. And I want to acknowledge and thank all of the community members that came out here tonight, showed support online, virtually, watching the meeting right now, those that will watch it later and support because they support their transgender, non-binary, gender diverse, LGBTQIA plus community members, neighbors, families, and friends. We need you now more than ever. Thank you.
We're also honored this evening to be joined by our Director of the Office of LGBTQ Affairs of Essex County, Reggie Bledsoe. Reggie, welcome. I'd like to offer you an opportunity to say a few words if you are so inclined. We are so fortunate to have such a great ally in this space, our great executive in Essex County, Joe DiVincenzo.
Thank you, Dane. I'm going to be very, very brief. Thank you to the Township Committee, again, always leading the way. What you all are doing here today is signaling to the rest of this state and to the rest of this country that transgender and non-binary people are welcome. You're telling the rest of the state and this country that transgender and non-binary people matter and that they're safe and that they're whole here. So again, thank you to you all for your leadership, your wisdom. Thank you for continuously opening the doors to those who are part of very diverse communities. And like I always say, the Township of Maplewood leads by an example. And where we are in terms of our climate now, the role that you all play as elected officials is more important now than ever. So again, to your colleagues, former Mayor Daffis, to Shannon Cullel, and all of the wonderful residents that are part of this wonderful township, thank you. Thank you for seeing us. Thank you for opening the door to LGBTQ people. And from my role, you have a partnership in the county. And again, we appreciate you.
So we'll take a few photos, and this is how I'd like us to manage this. I'll ask my colleagues to stand up where they are behind the dais, and then the rest of us will gather. I will direct you accordingly. We will gather on either side of the flag, and that way we'll be able to take a great photo looking from the back there. All we need now is someone to take the photos. We have anybody? All right, excellent.
Yep, he's a photographer. He's also my mom.
Amari.
Thank you, Mayor. I turn it back to you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for doing that and for, as Mr. Daffis and others mentioned, given the results of the last election and some already unfortunate text messages going out to the trans community as well as the LGBTQ community and people of color. And it's just hopefully they'll investigate and find it out. So we just need to soldier on, right? But you know that Maplewood is a safe place for all of us. So thank you all for coming out. We're going to get on with our agenda. So you're welcome to stay, you're welcome to leave. But thank you all for coming out in support. Boards and committees, Mr. DeLuca, you have an alternate for Historic Preservation Commission.
Yes, Mayor. Could we just give a moment for folks to? Nancy, this is not about you. Not everyone's leaving because of you. No, no, Nancy, you're coming up. No. I mean, everyone leaving.
It's nothing personal is what he's
Nothing
saying.
about you. This is how it happens.
It's
You go up to
weird.
the
People
podium.
don't like to stay at our meetings, but
Nancy, over to the podium. Well, thank you. Okay, welcome. So, colleagues, we've discussed the appointing Nancy Buscemi to the, as an alternate number 2 to the Historic Preservation Commission. And she's graciously accepted and is here tonight to say hello. You have an engineering background. I really think it'll be very helpful on the commission, particularly as we talk about redevelopment of Maplewood Village and some of the other issues around historic preservation of private homes. So welcome, and you could tell us a little bit about yourself and what you think you might bring to the commission.
Oh, thank you. I thought you would have questions or something. Well, I'm a structural engineer. I've worked in the industry for 38 years and I'm getting ready to retire. So I mentioned it to Vic and suddenly he,
really?
but it's good. I was on the zoning board for 7 years, but it got to be too much, so I left. But I'm available. I mean, I could help. You know, I understand it's once a month meetings and that's fine. Anybody have any questions?
No, but I agree. I think you'll be a big asset for the Maplewood movie theater redevelopment area, especially with regard to.
Yes.
Sure.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Thank you for volunteering. That's great.
So I move we appoint Nancy Buscemi as alternate number 2.
Is it
Second.
one? It's one on the agenda.
Ms. Cripe?
Number 2.
Okay, number 2. Got it. Second. We have a
Second.
Mari?
Ms. Cripe?
Yes, welcome.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes, thank you.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes, thank you, fellow Nancy.
Congratulations.
And the next meeting is Wednesday.
We'll see you on Wednesday.
Conference room.
Right in there.
See you on Wednesday.
It's next door, inside here. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. Now we open the floor to public comment for agenda items only. Is there anyone, no. Okay, so Mr. Wary, do you want to open it up for the people online?
Yes, if any members of the public joining on Zoom would like to speak in public portion, please raise your hand now. There are no hands, Mayor.
Okay, great. Then we'll move to ordinances on final passage. All right, we have number 8A.
Bond ordinance 3132-24, ordinance amending section 3E 8 of bond ordinance 3118-24 of the Township of Maplewood in the County of Essex, New Jersey, finally adopted May 7th, 2024, in order to amend the description of the project. The interpretive statement is this ordinance will allow previous approved funds to be used for a high-efficiency gas-powered furnace at the greenhouse.
Did you want to read the, okay. I'll read it. This ordinance has been published, copies posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and copies made available to the general public in accordance with the law. I'd like to open it up for the public. If anyone has any comments or questions about this ordinance, this is now, the hearing is open. I see nobody in the house. Mr. Wary.
If any members of the public on Zoom would like to speak on this ordinance, please raise your hand now. I see no hands, Mayor.
Okay, great. I move this ordinance to be adopted as a whole and the clerk to be directed to publish the same as a past ordinance in the Maplewood South Orange News Record according to law.
Second.
Ms. Kripe,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis,
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca,
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Alad. 8B, another bond ordinance.
Bond ordinance 3134-24, bond ordinance providing a supplemental appropriation of $700,000 for improvements to Springfield Avenue Phase 2 in and by the Township of Maplewood in the County of Essex, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of 700,000 bonds or
Yeah,
notes
I know.
of the township to finance the cost thereof.
Okay, this is the next ordinance, so we'll go back to the one before it. That's okay, Mr. Alad, no problem.
Want me to read it?
You want to read the interpretive statement? Yeah.
This ordinance provides additional necessary funding to award Springfield Avenue Phase 1 and Phase 2 improvements.
This ordinance has been published, copies posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and copies made available to the general public in accordance with the law. Is there anyone here who would like to speak to this ordinance? Mr. Wary, can you see online, please?
Any members of the public joining on Zoom would like to speak on this ordinance, please raise your hand now. I see no hands, Mayor.
Okay, then I will move this ordinance be adopted as a whole and the clerk be directed to publish the same as a past ordinance in the Maplewood South Orange News Record according to law.
Second.
Ms. Kripe,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis,
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca,
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. Now we'll go to bond ordinance 3133-24.
Bond ordinance 3133-24, bond ordinance providing a supplemental appropriation of $5 million for the construction, equipping, and furnishing of a new library in and by the Township of Maplewood in the County of Essex, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of 5 million bonds or notes of the township to finance the cost thereof. The interpretive statement is this ordinance provides additional necessary funding to complete the library project.
This ordinance has been published, copies posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and copies made available to the general public in accordance with the law. Would anyone like to speak on this ordinance?
If any members of the public joining us on Zoom would like to speak on this ordinance, please raise your hand now. I see no hands.
Okay, thank you. I move this ordinance be adopted as a whole. The clerk be directed to publish the same as a past ordinance in the Maplewood South Orange News Record according to law.
Second.
Ms. Kripe,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis,
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca,
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. Now we'll move to 8D 3135-24.
Ordinance 3135-24, ordinance amending chapter 257 of the Township Code entitled Vehicles and Traffic to allow street parking on a portion of Inwood Place. This ordinance will remove the current no parking zone on the south side of Inwood Place between Maplewood Avenue and Woodland Road.
This ordinance has been published, copies posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and copies made available to the general public in accordance with the law. Is there anyone who would like to speak to this ordinance about parking on Inwood Place?
Anyone joining us on Zoom would like to speak on this ordinance, please raise your hand now. I see no hands.
Okay,
I move this ordinance be adopted as a whole and the clerk be directed to publish the same as a past ordinance in the Maplewood South Orange News Record according to law.
I'll second.
Ms. Kripe,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis,
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca,
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. And the final ordinance on second reading for passage, 8E.
Ordinance 3136-24, an ordinance to create a new Article 4 under Chapter 93 of the Code of the Township of Maplewood entitled Control of Plastic, Dust, and Contaminants During Construction. This ordinance will supplement Chapter 93, Building Construction of the Township Code with a new article to describe the requirements for controlling plastic and dust contaminants during construction and preventing them from entering the watershed.
This ordinance has been published, copies posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and copies made available to the general public in accordance with the law. Is there anyone who would like to speak to this ordinance, Mr. Wary?
Anyone joining on Zoom would like to speak on this ordinance, please raise your hand now. I see no hands, Mayor.
Okay, can I get a motion finally on this, Mr. Duff?
Certainly, Mayor. Thank you. I move this ordinance be adopted as a whole and the clerk be directed to publish the same as a passed ordinance in the Maplewood South Orange News Record according to law.
I'll second.
Ms. Kripe?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Zangle?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes, thank you. And finally, an introduction of a new ordinance on for now. 9A.
All right.
Okay.
Ordinance number 3137-24, an ordinance to amend chapter 19 of the Code of the Township of Maplewood entitled Community Board on Police. This ordinance will amend section 19-8 of the Township Code to modify the term limits for members of the Community Board on Police.
Can I get a motion, Mr. Daffis?
I move the passage of this ordinance on first reading, its publication according to law in the Maplewood South Orange News Record, and a hearing to be held on December 3rd.
Second.
Ms. Kripe?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Zangle?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes, thank you. Okay, now that that business is done, Mr. Wary, you're up for a report from the administrator's office.
Thank you, Mayor. One report. I know there was interest in when the senior bus was being delivered. We are excited about its delivery. We expect it now by the first week of December. So that's by December 6th.
Wow.
We'll make it.
okay.
Yes, we.
So is that like a sure thing?
Exactly what graphics are going on the side. And yes, we are confident that it will be delivered by the 6th.
Okay, we should talk about a ribbon cutting on that.
Yes. Yes.
Ribbon cutting. Let's go for a drive.
Honestly.
Yes.
You can hold the ribbon out the window.
Yeah.
We can.
Better get your CDL license before then, Mayor.
We should definitely have a party for
I
it.
don't think I could reach the pedals, probably. Any questions for Mr. Wary?
No.
None.
Snooze.
You're off the hook. Good. Ms. Cordedio, you're up. No report. Okay, any questions?
Everybody wants to go to Atlantic City. I think.
Everybody wants to pack and go to bed to go to. That's fine.
Thing to do.
Any questions for our township attorney? No, okay. Any report from Mr. Allah for our clerk?
Yes, but I'll summarize it.
Yeah, it was a very nice report, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just want to start off by saying for people who are not in the room and are watching from home, there's no need to worry. Our clerk is just on the way to the league. There's no ominous reason for me being here right now.
Okay.
People are freaking out. Where is Liz?
With that said, we do have a report as custom for our office. We first want to thank those who participated in Veterans Day, from the musicians to the staff who helped, and of course, all the members of the veterans and their families who came and spoke that day. We also wanted to give a special thanks to all the veterans who currently work in the Township of Maplewood who decided to have the next phase of their career here in the township. Following that, I need to note that after speaking with Mayor Adams, we have requested from the county to consider in 2025 Maplewood to have an early voting location. Right now, we propose the Woodland and DeHart Center. We're hoping to get a finalized information about whether or not we are accepted by April 2025, but based off of initial correspondence with the county, it's pretty much based off of whether the Board of Commissioners are looking to have that. But we spoke to someone on Election Day and they are looking to expand beyond what they currently have. Following that, we have been updating the boards and committees so that now the rosters, descriptions, and meeting information is publicly available, and also it should be on our township calendar. And we're working with the township committee to further advance any type of information that the public may want and need. We also have the residential brochure, which is at this point, I think 62 pages of information, which provides contact information for staff, the committee, if you need the county information for them, as well as various facts about things and how we do procedures here in Maplewood. And lastly, parking in Jitney for 2025 is going to open up on December 16th. And thanks to the administration's approval, we're now going to have it so that for the Jitney passes, they can also be digital, so you would not have to come into the township offices and you can get them whenever you please.
Yay, awesome.
That's awesome.
Is that all you have?
Yeah, well, that's the summary of it.
Well, I didn't want to cut you off before I asked if anyone had questions. I mean, your report, I must say, was much more thoughtful than the other two departments. So mean.
Next time, they're going to show up with a big report.
Any questions for our deputy clerk?
No.
I just have one statement about the early voting location. So when early voting started, we did look here. It is a huge commitment of space and time.
Yeah.
Because you have to block out 10 days. So I would suggest that before we have any conversation with the county, we either look at the schedule now for DeHart for 2025 and the Woodland, because you're talking 2 times of the year, in June and in November.
Right.
So that means that Monday through Saturday through the next
Tuesday.
Sunday,
Right. So
Sunday
9
before
days.
election day. So it's like 10 days or so that you have to block out time. So if we don't have those times, we can't do it because you can't move it around. It's got to be in one location.
Right. So the Woodland seems logical because if there's room in that parlor part.
I don't think the parlor would work. I think you'd have to be downstairs. Well, the parlor has issues with stairs.
You can come in on.
Not,
Oh,
no,
yeah,
because the
okay.
parking is on the side.
Got it, got it, got it.
That's the other is accessibility, right?
Yeah, okay. We'll talk more about location and time. All right, noted. Now we'll go to reports from elected officials. Committee, you can.
Thank you. I got 3 items. One, the Hilton Neighborhood Association is meeting this Thursday night, 7:30 PM at the Community Center in DeHart Park, and Chief Albert Sally will be the speaker. So anyone out there who would like to talk to the chief, here's an opportunity to come. He'll be talking about some of the recent crime statistics and also traffic and parking, believe it or not.
Yay.
So if you have a concern, certainly come and speak to the chief. I was told today by Mr. Kittner, our engineer, that we're going out to get bids for or quotes of cost to install the 4-way stop sign at Parker and Suffolk, which we committed to do before the end of the year. So hopefully that will take place. And lastly, we had a planning meeting for Black History Month, and we're going to be calling together the various parties from last year to a Zoom meeting on December 4th. We're trying to get things started. I've been working with Miriam and Stacy, so
Great.
that's it.
Any questions for Mr. DeLuca? Nope. Okay, we'll move to Deputy Mayor Craig.
Very quickly, just a reminder to folks that we are still very much in a burn ban here in the state of New Jersey. So please, please, please mulch your leaves. Preferably don't leave them on the street. And if you do, make sure they're very close to the curb. And also follow the water restrictions and conservation suggestions sent out in various communications as well as announced to the meeting, our last meeting. In regard to traffic, reminders to slow down, be aware of your surroundings, stick to the lighted areas if you're pedestrian, and please, as we move into the holiday season, be aware of folks in the crosswalk. It is mandatory if someone is standing in a crosswalk in New Jersey for you to stop. You may not like it, but you're supposed to do it. So please do so. And thank you for the senior bus. I cannot be any more excited. I was going to say some stuff about the seniors, but that right there just wiped all of it out because they have been desperately wanting that. And then finally, I wanted to say thank you to Mr. Daffis for sharing his heartfelt words at the beginning of our meeting in regards to Transgender Day of Awareness and Week of Visibility. And to our transgender family, friends, children in this town, I just quickly want to say that you always have a home here. You are beloved and beautiful just as you are, and you don't owe anyone any justification for your courageous presence in this world. Stay resilient and know that as long as I have breath, you have a friend, a pseudo mom, and an ally in this fight to your full rights to live your truth without any shame, because you have nothing to be ashamed of. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's beautiful.
Any questions for Deputy Mayor Craig?
Such a great ally. Thank you. Capital A.
Oh, Committee Member Daffis.
No report, Mayor.
Everyone's got.
Any questions for Mr. Daffis? Okay, Member Engel, you're up.
Thank you. I want to remind everyone that the old-time Follies are this Thursday at 7:30 at the Woodland. So if you're not going to talk to Chief Sally at Hilton Neighborhood Association, you can come and laugh at all of your neighbors performing on stage. It should be really fun. I'm very, very excited. We got to judge the audition, so you're in for a real treat. I want to just acknowledge the Soma Bike Bus, which is now operating all over Maplewood and South Orange. I got to see the Tuscan Bike Bus ride around right by your house on Friday, which was really cool to see all these kids and families. And I want to thank all the volunteers who are helping out with that. Ms. Kripe and I met with the Youth Advisory Committee. We have 2 members who are super enthusiastic and have great ideas and insights, and it's really exciting to get that rolling. We are still recruiting, especially 7th graders, 8th graders, and 10th graders. So if you're interested, you can reach out to us to find more information or check out our website for the application form. With Thanksgiving coming up, I want to also remind everybody that Small Business Saturday is coming up, and it's really important to support our small businesses during this holiday season. The fourth quarter holiday sales are the biggest part of their business, so it's really important to shop local. We know you like online shopping. It's really easy and convenient, but please remember all of our merchants who are on it all over Maplewood and the Village, on Springfield Avenue, on Irvington, and on Ridgewood, and lots of other places. And the winter market is coming to Springfield Avenue on December 7th and 8th. And I believe both Ms. Kripe and I will be making appearances, so you can check us out there.
You will be what?
Making appearances as.
Appearances.
Oh.
Oh.
Ooh.
Mrs. Claus.
Mrs. Claus.
Yes, you'll have me on Saturday and Ms. Kripe on Sunday, I believe. So come shop and support all of our neighbors. That is my report.
Thank you. Any questions from Committee Member Engel? No. Okay, I have no report other than happy Thanksgiving to everyone in the community. Once we all, I know, we all forget because
I'm just.
we all have a conference to go to that we're all kind of focused on, we forget. But happy Thanksgiving to everyone in the community from all of us. I think it's safe, I can say that on your behalf. So we'll move to our discussion items now. We have 2 by Mr. DeLuca. So the Stormwater Utility Draft Ordinance.
Thank you, Mayor. So we received a draft ordinance from our consultants, Arcadis. Draft used the New Brunswick ordinance as the model. You've each received a copy of that, so we can answer any questions you might have. I'm going to go through some of it. Just want to let you know, we did have 2 meetings regarding the ordinance. One, Ms. Credidio and Joe Kay was there, Mr. Weary, and we went through it and worked out a lot of the stuff, a lot of the language. Ms. Credidio is going to Maplewoodize the language. She likes that word. But we thought in general the ordinance was sound, and we're just going to change a few of the things, make sure that the practices that are mentioned here are the same. We also met again on Monday, Joe Kay and Mr. Weary and I with the Arcadis folks, and answered a bunch of questions. Mr. Bittner was on also, I guess, and Mr. Barry too, right? So we went through it again and asked questions and got all the information. So we're ready to move. The plan now is after we get the final writing from Ms. Credidio, we'll introduce this at our meeting in December, the first meeting in December, and then have a public hearing and final adoption the second meeting in December. This will go into effect in 2025. And it will be part of the billing process with the sewer fee.
Right.
We've worked that out, and there's a, they're now looking at blocks and lots and making sure that everything matches up. So that all works. So again, what we're talking about is establishing a stormwater utility. This will be a set-aside budgeted entity in the township, similar to the pool. The pool's a utility. Money coming in stays there. It doesn't get used for the general fund. The money that we're talking about is roughly $900,000 a year that we'll raise, and that will be raised through a fee, and the fee will be $70 for what's called a residential equivalency residential unit. And so just as we had a discussion here, we wanted to get a lower amount than 70. So for the smaller properties in town, which is about 1,400, they will be paying $35. For the 1 unit equivalent, that's about 4,000 units, they'll be paying $70. And then there's about 1,000 that will be paying $105, and then roughly let's say 160 that will be paying more than that. And that's based on the amount of impervious surface that's on their lot. And this is all calculated by an eye in the sky that's done by the department, by the state, by the Department of Environmental Protection. So we are talking again about dedicating this money for stormwater activities. So this would be improving our stormwater drains and our system, dealing with some of the flooding issues we have in town, looking at installing green infrastructure. We did talk about including having the capacity to make small grants to owners of property who wanted to install green infrastructure on their property to reduce the amount of runoff that comes into the streets. Speaking of streets, we will be charging ourselves $280,000 for the 4,000 units of municipal roads we have here. We'll also be charging the county, and hopefully they'll be paying. Again, we're looking to put this money into many of the different programs that we're talking about. We have a stormwater project on Maple Terrace, on Kendall's coming up, on Boyden Avenue. They're all around town. And so this is what we're going to be doing. And we'll be, by generating these dollars year after year, we'll be able to have a dedicated fund that we'll have some, I guess, guaranteed funding that we can operate these projects. We will get a budget for 2025 this year during the budget cycle. We'll be able to see what the projects are and be very clear about how this money will be spent. Mr. Kittner, as the engineer, will become the utility director. So there's no additional cost. We're not hiring anybody to do this. This is all going to be done with current staff, although, of course, with projects, we do bring on consultants to help us draft the specifications and everything else. So just want to give us one caution, just so we all know, most of all the numbers we've been talking about and all that deal with residential units. There are also the commercial units, and so also nonprofits. We have some nonprofits, churches, for example, the church on Parker, which has a very large parking lot.
Maybe they'll shrink it.
A large parking lot, asphalt parking lot, which is going to be charged a lot of residential units, which is the factor. So, and you know, any of the other major businesses in town that have large parking lots in addition to their building, that's all impervious surface. So we will probably get some pushback from some of the larger property owners, and the ordinance does allow for people to come in and speak to the stormwater utility director and negotiate again. Are there ways that they can mitigate the stormwater runoff? And we'll be doing that work as we get through. So what we'll be doing is, once we get more information from our consultants, they'll start identifying some of the big users, and we'll have some pre-meetings with them before the bills go out so that they're aware of what to expect. And they can do their own budgeting for 2025. So that's the plan. We're still due a credit policy.
I was just going to ask.
And we're going to get that this week.
Okay.
That's referenced in the ordinance. We don't need that for the ordinance, but that will be something. If someone says, well, wait a minute, my lot is not that size, I should be paying the lower amount, we just go out and measure it, and then we can fine tune that. Or if someone says, well, I'm going to be planting something, they can get credit for something like that.
Okay. So there'll be a process.
There'll be a process, yes.
Okay. Can we use capital? Can we bond for the township's contribution to the annual contribution for that? Because I don't know. I'm just asking a question. Do you, or you don't have to know if you don't know? I mean,
Our contribution would be based on our roadways.
yeah, no, I know,
That contribution isn't a capital asset, wouldn't be eligible for bonding.
but it's going toward capital projects.
The
presumably.
capital projects from the utility, we can bond in the utility like we do with the pool. and
Yeah,
we
yeah.
pay Debt service.
Okay. And obviously, and I just want to thank Mr. Weary and Mr. Kaloje for working on figuring out how to get that billing done the way I think we all envisioned it from when we first started talking about it. So thank you for hearing that and moving with that. I know it'll be more work for the finance office, but I think it'll be easier for the residents to understand and so I'm in favor. Go ahead.
I'm in favor too. I just think that one of the things we should do with this, this is groundbreaking, as Mr. DeLuca has mentioned. We're only the second municipality going in this direction in the state at a time when in New Jersey, we're realizing what the big cost of stormwater mismanagement is, right? In light of climate change. So I think we have a big burden here in not just passing the ordinance, but also in socializing this in the community, talking about it, explaining it, doing a few stories, and through our comms committee, Ms. Engel, we can talk about some press releases and that kind of thing. That's all. But yes, I'm in favor of it, and I want to thank Mr. DeLuca for his leadership here. He did a lot of legwork, a lot of research, and the mayor too, because I know, Mayor, this is something that you wanted to
Brought it
do.
up a while back.
Yeah, you've been talking about it since I've been on the township committee. And now that everybody else is on board,
Now that they finally listened.
yeah, this is definitely something we should be doing.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Davis.
No, I'm just
Mhm.
grateful that the financial aspects of things were looked at in consideration for lower income housing as well as our senior population, because that was a very big worry for them.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
And this could, to your point, Mr. DeLuca, about the church with the huge parking lot where I first tried my my car. I think this might incentivize some people to get rid of some impervious surface that they don't need, but they don't want to invest in ripping up
Right.
something. I can't imagine that
Community garden.
is that used all the time, but
That's a good point.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm also in support. And we're going to talk about in communications committee about how to get this information out to the public because it is a tax.
Mhm.
And so we want to explain it more. And we also talked about looking at the credit system and figuring out what are actionable items that homeowners can take to help improve, not only to lower their tax bill, but also to help the environment. Because like you said, it is from climate change and there are little things that we each can be doing. We just don't know what they are. And so if we give the tools and the information to our residents, and it's possible we can make even greater change than just having a fund to pay for what we need to do.
Yeah.
It adds value to your home. So
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
aspect as well.
yeah, no, I mean, climate change is real. And we've been talking about doing this. So thank you, Mr. DeLuca, for all your leadership on this and for all the work from Ms. Credidio and everyone else. It was a lot, but I think we're almost there. So, all right.
Okay.
So it sounds like you got buy-in.
Okay.
We're ready for your ordinance, Ms. Credidio.
But what eyes?
Okay, Mr. DeLuca. you-
Yes, the Springfield Avenue Partnerships Public Art Project. We've spoken about this a couple times here, even back in the beginning of the year when we talked about the Springfield Avenue Partnerships budget. They've been raising dollars from the various events we've had. Most of them involve alcohol. The
about
the
way we-
wine nights and the beer nights.
We put that together.
But in any event, we've raised some money and we now want to move forward with painting the utility box. Now, these are the electrical boxes that are at the corners where there are traffic lights. They're generally big brown or black ugly box that sits there that has all the mechanicals for the lights to work. And so what's being proposed is that we paint 6 utility boxes. We put out an RFP. We received 11 qualifying submissions from artists. There was no required theme, although they did have to use the 3 primary colors of SAM.
Oh, nice.
And so in the designs are quite different and quite cool.
They are cool.
Ms. Engel and I were both on the selection committee. I know you have much more talent on art. I just think what was cool. And,
I'm just always so impressed with the artists, the people we have in our community, and the ideas that they came up with were really quite engaging and clever and interactive.
Yeah.
So I think just to make it official, I would like to move that we authorize the Springfield Avenue Partnership to move forward with the public art project on the utility boxes on Springfield Avenue. Mr. Kitney will notify the county because the county's role, even though we have the boxes as having jurisdiction on the avenue, the county is responsible to maintain the traffic lights. So we just want to notify them that these boxes will be painted, and if in fact they have to go in and use these boxes to fix something, to just respect the paintings and stuff, stuff.
Ms. Engel, would you like, since you helped judge, would you like to second the motion?
Sure, I second the motion.
Mr. Allah?
Ms. Kripe,
Yes.
Mr. Dappis.
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mr. Adams.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Anybody, I actually, we're all good. No more discussion on that, right? I realized I didn't let anybody discuss.
We're excited. We're all excited.
I don't know if any of the high school students applied, but I remember that was a conversation from years back.
Uh-huh.
But maybe the next round, reserve a spot for the high school students.
There's plenty of
It's
utility
amazing
box.
Art kids at the school.
Okay, we'll move on to consent agenda. Can I get a motion, please? So moved.
Second.
Ms. Kripe,
Yes.
Mr. Dappis.
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca.
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Adams.
Yes. Now we're to our second public comment meeting on any item. Is there anyone here? Seeing none. Is there anyone online, Mr. Wary?
If anyone joining us on Zoom would like to speak in public portion, please raise your hand now. See no hands, Mayor.
Okay, then I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Move, we adjourn.
Second.
Ms. Kripe,
Yes.
Mr. Dappis.
Yes.
DeLuca.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Have a good night and have a